It's 7 p.m. 7 minutes after 7, actually. And the geeks are here. Tuesdays, Geek Days. Today, we're talking about something that's been on the news since, well, for those who are in different time zones, since Sunday. For those of us in this time zone, since Monday. And it has to do with a company that makes smartphones, that's resident in China, that Donald Trump doesn't like, apparently. A company called Huawei. So last week, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that effectively banned Huawei in the US, including its ability to source goods and services from American companies. The order limits the involvement of foreign adversaries in a nation's carrier network. That includes Huawei telecommunications equipment, which the US carriers don't use following a previous ban, and the sale of Huawei phones like the P30 Pro through US carriers. Well, you can still buy some of these devices from Amazon and B&H Photo. But then again, yeah, you can't get them through the carriers. Surprisingly, today the Commerce Department says that they've lifted this trade ban.
Yeah.
But we're going to discuss all this right from the beginning to what it is now. And with me to do this brainstorming is Mr. Michael Nissan Tundra Ajete.
Still for sale.
Also known as Majete on Twitter, the majestic man. And Mr. Woche, Winston.
What's good?
Yeah. So, you know you changed, bro. I didn't recognize you when you walked into my office.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog now. It's black cousin.
Wow.
Sonic the lawn hog. He's not going to head. Okay, so
Sonic the Abrochi Akrantie.
Oh, wow. Sonic isn't a raccoon, though.
Let him stow away in any car to the harbor and see what they will call him.
Okay.
Abrochi Akrantie.
Okay, so guys. Yesterday, when I woke up and I saw this story, first thing that came to my mind was Trump is at it again. I mean, last year, there was a ban that prevented them from selling through carriers.
Yeah.
And I remember very, vividly how Huawei was so confident that this last year, which was that they were going to sell their phones in America and they were going to release them through carriers. And then all of a sudden they say, hey, you guys are not allowed to sell.
Yeah. That was a big blow to
that
them.
was a big blow. But surprisingly, they made tremendous profit.
Yeah, they did exceptionally, which makes me wonder if they had actually gotten an opportunity to sell with carriers in the US.
Exactly.
I wonder how well they would have done.
Now, what beats my mind, first of all, is that does this mean that Huawei does not depend on the American market? Are they doing very well in China? Are they doing very well in other markets besides America? And if so, do they really need America?
I feel the first question we should ask is how many people are in China?
Plenty.
How many people are in
Billions.
Asia?
Billions.
Yeah, so do they really need America? They need the West to create a certain sense of legitimacy. Like, for instance, last week, a listener talked about Xiaomi.
Yeah.
Xiaomi is quite a good brand. I've seen some of their stuff and
China's
everything.
Apple.
Yeah, but they don't have that legitimacy because they haven't really influxed into the West. Like they don't have a staying power in the West. So maybe Huawei may not really need America, but it needs that level of legitimacy across board. If the West accepts you as an OEM, which is what the smartphone makers are called, if the West accepts you, then you have a staying power as a brand, as a smartphone brand across board. But if you are just looking to sell your stuff, sell your phones and not worry about things like legitimacy, then they don't have to worry about China. I mean, they don't have to worry about coming to the US. And China will hold them down. I feel like China has been holding them down for the longest time. They're one of the biggest companies in China. So, but yeah, they are interested in having a certain sense of legitimacy. So this may pose a little bit of a problem to
that. Notwithstanding, they're trying to get this legitimacy, but then previously Google had blocked access to certain services and apps following this executive order. A lot of people don't understand what this means. For instance, I had people calling me saying, "Is my phone safe?"
It's a very good question, because the first thing that came to my mind was that, wow, all the Huawei ads I've been seeing, because Ghana is actually a very strong Huawei market, if you ask me. It's one, Huawei, there are a lot of people who use Huawei because of the affordability of their phones. And if you are worried if your phone will be affected, yes, it may sound very harrowing and sound very like doom and gloom and everything, but yes, your phone is going to be affected.
In what way?
So you're not going. I mean, okay, I just thought about it. The average Ghanaian doesn't really update.
Good. Now,
So yeah,
that's what I wanted
really
us to hone
update.
in on. You know, considering the fragmentation, the huge fragmentation when it comes to Android, a lot of people do not update their phones before they even upgrade. And now we're talking about the only thing that would affect them basically is updates, because Google still said that existing phones were still going to get Play services.
Yeah.
They're still going to get apps. They're still going to be able to update their apps. They're going to get Play Protect.
Yeah.
That's security against bad apps and Play Store.
So,
So the only thing they were not going to get was probably Android Q.
well, they are not going to get anything moving on. So initially
That was
till the 90-day
till the 90-day
thing,
temporary.
they were
Now
not
we'll
even
get to that.
they were not even going to get security updates. They weren't going to get.
Yeah, they weren't going to
anything.
get security OTA updates.
Yes.
But they would get Play Store
updates. But I mean, moving forward, I think it was a commerce. Forgotten the people who are in charge of this. They did say that they do not know if they are going to increase the duration, the 90-day grace period. They don't really know what they are actually going to figure out what's going to happen. But I think we should jump into the story. Let's break it down bit by bit.
So where did it all start?
The Genesis.
Genesis. Well, it's actually a bit sad. This is all related to Iran. So what happened was somewhere around, was it 2010? Oh, sorry, 2010. Okay, this event actually happened in 2010, but it came to light somewhere around around 2016, where a subsidiary of Huawei that's actually based in Iran was they were in negotiations with one Iranian telecom to sell equipment to them. But the problem was that sale would have been in violation of the sanctions on Iran.
Sanctions, yeah.
So once the US found that out, that is when the hammer started to come down from their side. It's not necessarily Trump is angry at someone throwing his weight at them. It didn't actually happen. The sale never actually went through. That's what Huawei maintained.
But this was when they arrested.
Yes, it was around the same time that, as a result of that, they're like, fine, you guys are breaking quote-unquote international law. So then the US pressured Canada to arrest Huawei's chief financial officer in Canada and get her extradited to
America.
the USA to face prosecution. And then it starts this flow back and forth between the US and China with the Huawei courts in the middle. And now here we are with this executive order signed and sort of put on suspension, so on and so forth. But yeah. And other things have started coming up as well. There's talk of, are the devices safe for consumers to use? That how do we know that Huawei haven't been allowing the Chinese government to get access to people's private accounts? Although someone did raise a point that there's equal risk between them and people who use Cisco/Linksys routers also getting the same info leaked. I mean, last week we spoke about cybersecurity a bit and touched on these things. So it's always
the whole WhatsApp.
Yes, the whole WhatsApp. So it's always a back and forth with these things.
Software in itself is very difficult to audit. Because most of these times, all these bugs and all these backdoors and whatever it is, some of them are not intentionally left. Like in WhatsApp's case, for instance, it was a buffer overflow.
Yeah.
Now, you wouldn't be able to discover this until testing, and then you find out this and then you solve it. So sometimes I feel like, it's much ado about nothing, really. Well, unless they intentionally put some kind of backdoor in the device.
That's what people are trying to allegate, that yes, they intentionally did it to let the Chinese government keep an eye on people. Because, I mean, it's not likely to happen, but in the current political climate, people may think, well, it could happen, because some of the listeners may know that China recently started implementing this social credit system where now they literally monitor your lifestyle and the lifestyle of people around you and assign you a social credit score.
Yeah.
That makes it easier or more difficult, depending on where you are, where your score is, to literally live in China and freely move around. The higher your score and the more you sit in line with what the government says you should do, including your religion and more, which is very controversial, so I can't go into details there. But the higher your social credit score, the easier life, quote unquote, becomes for you. And the worse your credit score, at the very least, you may stem straight into prison, no trial or anything, or will even be able to travel around, literally leave your place of accommodation because you literally don't have a credit score that even allows you to board a bus.
But you see, the bottom line of all this is, have they actually found any evidence backing this allegation?
Well, the U.S. intelligence services say they haven't. But then again, the U.S. intelligence services also said that Linksys and Cisco routers are safe for use. When we all know that there's something there. I mean, when it comes to the world of intelligence gathering and people stealing people's data, unless quote unquote large third party quote unquote who has no stakes in anything comes out and says this thing is safe or not safe, aka Anonymous and other similar groups, it's very hard for people to tell what is really going on when it comes to these things.
In that case, we could safely assume that they're all safe.
Yes, we can. It's reasonable to assume they're all safe.
Well,
I mean,
wouldn't you?
I mean, the
Because-
same thing did happen to ZTE.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the
And
same time.
they are not doing so great. They are not doing so hot right now. And this entire thing also started with the trade wars with China. Like, there's a lot of politics involved in this. And remember one time we were talking about how can politics affect technology, how technology. Back then, they seem to be a separate entity, so the whole Facebook fiasco. But now we've seen that, yeah, they can affect each other so greatly, because it seems like this trade war may or may not be a part of it. I mean, the intelligence group saying that Huawei is unsafe, that they are breaching. And there were stories about Huawei having a department that paid out people who brought information, basically paid out for corporate espionage. Which, if you don't know what that is, basically they pay you money to steal secrets from a company or a company you're working in, which is terrible.
But that's general spying.
But
everyone does it.
Everybody does this, but
Countries are doing it.
You see, the reason why I think that all this is political talk that is basically unsubstantiated, because think about it this way. You know, you heard about the 0-day exploit, which was apparently backdoors installed on devices for the CIA, NSA, and FBI. Now, what gives America the moral rights to claim that someone is spying when there's already leaked information suggesting that America is installing backdoors on devices?
I mean, you ask this question, but let's be frank. America is kind of the big brother of this world.
Oh, what a choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the big brother.
To you.
That's why I said let's be
I'm my own
frank.
big brother.
Let's be honest. Like, they are the big dogs in
Okay,
this
yeah,
game.
Say the big dogs.
They are the big-
Brother. If in case the listeners are not sure why we are getting worried about those particular 10 words, look up the book 1984, and then maybe you might start sweating a little bit when someone says a country or an entity is big brother. You then start to realize there's a lot of big brothers, quote unquote, in this world, between world governments and world companies. Facebook, hint, hint, wink, wink.
But basically, they are like, they quote unquote, they are ones in charge. So
Of what exactly?
I don't want to get into the whole, but that's why I'm just using these simple words. And it's like, when you have a security guard and your security guard is responsible for keeping you safe, and he's taking steps generally to keep you safe, and a worker in your office decides to take on the tasks of that security guard, it flags. It's like a flag, like, what are you doing?
But would you, okay, so based on this, you would rather the Americans
I wouldn't rather anything, because
but that's what it's
no, what it suggests is that it is what it is, that there are powers and they are not so powers.
okay.
China is becoming a great power right now.
Becoming?
America, well, yeah, America is also a great power. So it's like two bulls locking horns, and there's a high possibility that we will feel the effect of all this. Like, everybody in the world is going to feel a recoil from all of this.
But basically, when you look at it from the tech point of view, I would think that America is doing this for the interest of their companies?
People have said that. I've been following this thing for a while, even to the political side and the business side, and you see after Google saying that they weren't going to support, like chip stocks plummeted, was by like 3 point something percent.
Because this only does not affect Google, it affects Qualcomm, it affects Broadcom, it affects Intel, even
so
Microsoft.
many people. But the thing is that when it comes to the tech of all of this, who is in charge?
I don't think
there's no
anyone
one
really
in
is
charge. There's no one in
because
charge.
This is more a matter of a consumer. This is more a consumer matter. Like, if I'm a consumer, I'm more concerned about, hey, this is a brand that I want to use.
So
Why can't I use this brand? Why is someone trying to make my life difficult? All because that they're suggesting, they're having their own political chess game.
now this may come off as a bit harsh, but it's something I tell a lot of people when they decide to have arguments about everything. That why is this doing this? And I'm like, we're in a democratic society. If you want to get change, majority carries the vote. Now, you said that you thought the first thing came to your mind was that it's a Trump problem, but the politics of it is actually showing that it's not only Trump. The Democrats and the Republicans are pretty much agreed on this particular matter.
Well,
And the issue has been going on for
a while, so it's
quite a long while.
I think we've digressed
into politics.
Yes.
Let's come back to the tech. So what does it mean to
what are the implications? That's basically what people are concerned about. How does this affect us as consumers? First off, as someone who's probably using a Huawei device right now, how does this affect the person?
Well, first off, what I'll say is that if some of my friends who are listening, if you were, I know you were thinking about buying a Huawei P30 Pro, please wait. Let's see what happens.
Or buy it right now, real quick.
No, but you see, Huawei says all phones that have already been released
will still get support.
even have been shipped, will all still get
and
support.
even phones that are about launching, because the Honor 20
Yes, they are all
launched
gonna get
today.
support. So all those phones are safe. Now, if you want to buy a P30 Pro, it's still going to have the Google Play services.
Yeah.
It's still going to have everything. It's still going to receive Huawei updates. What it may not receive, and I stress on the may, is maybe Android Q. But now they have this whole 90-day
extension
thing,
which personally I think may be extended again, because
very likely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of economic sense.
I mean, it's an economic game, because right now China, America did this and China had retaliated by putting sanctions on some other things that they had control over. So, the economic analysts say, no one wins a trade war. There's just a lot of casualties. So I feel like we should just sit down and
what
figure
do you
this out.
think happened that made them the decision get a reconsideration?
I'm thinking about it and everything that's been going on. Like, when you think about how far, let's be honest, China has moved substantially in about one generation, about 30 years. They've moved from a large population of farmers to about a millionaire every minute. And that's a great leap. So them being blocked may not be much of a problem to them. Some economic analysts are saying that if this trade war goes on, America is the one that stands to lose.
Good. Now, on that note, if this trade war goes on, and then let's just say, for argument's sake, the ban is not lifted, does Huawei have a backup plan?
Apparently they do. And this is something I used to tell my friends, because back then they were like, why do all these other phones have bloatware? And I used to tell them that, honestly, I feel like these OEMs, they have that plan B just in case something like this happens. At least we have a certain form of OS that you are comfortable with, because keep in mind, Android is open source, so you can still work with it. Amazon has the Fire OS.
Which is all based on Android.
Yeah, although the Fire phone didn't work, although I hear hints of them trying to do a new one, but you can still work with the Android open source platform, but you just wouldn't get Google stuff. And that, to me, is a very big deal outside of Asia.
Good, because in Asia, they already do not have Google
Access.
Services.
Yes.
They don't have YouTube, they don't have Gmail, Google Calendar.
Mainland China doesn't
There we
have
go.
Mainland
access.
China.
Yeah, access to any of
And
that.
we're looking at the plan B. What I read online is that even last year, Huawei released an ARC compiler that apparently compiles, and if you're listening and you don't know what a compiler is, the developers know when you create an application, you have to compile it. Now, the compiler that Huawei created apparently compiles Android applications and makes them up to 20 to 40% more efficient than traditional Google, Google's approach. If this turns out to be true, and applications that are developed and compiled with Huawei's compiler, it means that Huawei is going to have an upper hand. Because if applications are performing more efficiently, better, faster on their phones than others, what stops someone from going for more efficiency versus availability of Google Play services? That could be their selling point. I mean, I'm looking at it this way. You don't need just Google Play services to have a good phone, right?
Some would beg to differ.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
Well, officially, that is.
And if it turns out that they can incentivize developers to just recompile apps that they already have for their own Play Store, which something I read today that says the Huawei App Gallery.
Yes, it does have a lot of apps.
If they can just incentivize developers to do this whole ban will then turn around to be nothing.
And that really wouldn't be difficult for Huawei. They are number 2 in the world. So that's a huge influence. They have a huge sphere of influence. There's nothing for them to start pushing out updates that, new OS, new store. And remember, number 2 in the world when it comes to phone manufacture and for consumer use. Leave aside the industrial supply line as well. So you have all of that. Google, by everything that's going on, actually have more to lose the longer this goes on, because that means that more phones are coming out from, and again, I'm stressing this, the number 2 phone manufacturer in the world. And that means that 1 out of every 2 people who's now coming out getting a new phone could be getting a Huawei. And that person does not have access to your Play
services,
Store,
where you make money.
Yes.
Because that's your...
Actually, not just your Play Store, your services, everything, not just Play Store, Google Maps,
Mail,
Google Contacts, Mail, everything,
Chrome.
gone.
Now that's one, you're not getting data that you collect from people to make your services better.
There you go.
You're not making money.
Yeah.
And basically you've lost one of your biggest players.
Here's the thing. I beg to differ. I actually think both parties stand to lose. And I feel like that's why Google has quickly, after this 90-day thinking, Google is quickly working with Huawei to figure out what they're going to do
Google
about
has
this.
more to lose than Huawei.
They
personally.
do.
I honestly feel like Huawei has a lot more to lose, because you guys talk about creating a whole new apps faster and everything, but after some research, first off, apparently the name of the OS is Hongmeng.
Who cares about what the OS is called?
Let's just,
so far as it can run Android. For instance, do you remember what BlackBerry's OS is called?
no.
Exactly.
I remember
People
Tizen.
used it because you're a Samsung fan. Let me read those comments before we continue. I think Salasi, any idea of the Huawei plan B? We need that foldable Huawei, so they must hurry with their OS. We're very sure they're going to hurry. Frank Baden says the success of any current gizmo is based on the driving OS or apps. So for Google not to allow Android on the Chinese phone is a bigger blow than you think. They need to quickly develop an OS to match Android, else it's a downhill for them. Regardless of whatever happens, this happened to BlackBerry, Nokia, etc. If you're listening to us, you can send us a WhatsApp message or a Telegram message on 0244 340 437. The number is 0244 340 437. We're talking about the whole Google Huawei fiasco, how America is fighting with China, and how it affects you. So far we've said that people are not really affected. Those who currently hold Huawei devices can continue to go to the App Store, the Play Store, and everything. They're not really affected. Don't come back to me with your updates issue, because we have already established that people rarely update.
Okay, yes.
And
I mean, it depends on the place.
If it's a security patch, definitely Huawei is going to send that patch to their users through their own means. I mean, you're not getting Google updates, but you can get Huawei updates.
But that's the thing. With the extent to which Google is, to the extent of what this whole Google Huawei thing is, even you can't upload an APK, it would not run.
you can't upload an APK to
like a Google-based APK onto your this thing,
your Huawei.
your Huawei phone, it would not run. That's
Well,
the full extent of it.
By default, you cannot install Google APKs, but I mean, with techies, you
Bear in
can
mind,
root
it's-
it.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
you
So-
can root it
they're
slash
no,
gaps.
they're talking about to that extent. You have been
Where now
kicked
the
off.
ID.
Yeah,
is-
you have been kicked off that line, and you can't do anything.
All I say is challenge accepted.
I mean, it is a challenge. And you guys are talking about the OS. The interesting thing is that how many people and for how much and for how long can you incentivize a person to leave what they are used to, comfortable with, have been exposed to for years on end, to jump on a brand new wagon?
You see?
A wagon that was created
Mhm.
because of apparently a security issue and apparently some level of espionage and everything. It's not going to be that easy. In the beginning, it may not even work. That's what I'm saying, that if we are talking about Asia will have Huawei's back throughout, especially mainland China. They are cool. But in the West,
You say this like the OS that's probably gonna come is going to be alien from Android.
that's the thing.
Well, it
It's not
will.
going
It,
to
well,
be.
it could. It
It's
depends
going
on.
to be AOSP.
Well, no, it depends on which way they go with the development of the OS. Because now, if they are not working with Google and are not able to work with Google to make it work, they have no limitations now. So they have two options. If they go the Linux route, fine. There could be some similarity with Android that may allow Android apps to run. I mean, because we know these guys are, especially individual developers, once they give it a chance, very enterprise, and they may find a way. That's only if it's Linux based. But if they go the other way and go BSD based, they then run closer to what Apple and we run on for iOS and Mac OS as well. Suddenly, now Android apps don't have any chance of running on there. Although,
But
funnily enough, that
looking
means
at-
that.
Sure.
No, I was just saying, only funny enough, it could mean there's a slight chance that maybe Apple apps may run, but that's a completely different kettle of fish in another country.
I very much doubt that they would go a completely different way from Android as it is, because as the previous comment said, that the driving force behind any smartphone is the OS and the apps.
Mhm.
Now, if Huawei is smart, which obviously if they've released an ARC compiler which still
Mhm.
recompiles Android apps, it means that the OS is still going to be Android based. Now, bear in mind that they're not going to create a completely different OS. They're probably just going to take Android open source project, which is because Android does not entirely belong to Google. It's an
Mhm.
open source
Mhm.
software that is available to anyone. You of all people should know that. You have been dabbling with Lineage OS. So all you
Only
need
the
is
best.
just vanilla, completely vanilla Android without
Any-
Google Play apps and the
That's
rest.
true.
You're itching.
That's the thing, because I've
And then
done
all
some.
you have to do is have your own app store, incentivize, developers to create apps, to just recompile. They're not even recreating the apps; they're just recompiling the apps for your platform,
Mhm.
and then you're good to go.
You see, you make it sound very simple. You make it
But
sound
it
really
is.
great. You think, because here's the thing. I've done a lot of research
Mm.
from yesterday about the Hongmeng OS, and even the people at Huawei says they are actually not ready. They know it's a plan B, but it's a plan B they hope would never.
But then
Be
they
used.
still have AOSP. They don't even need to develop their own OS.
No,
They could
it's
still
based off
send
of
out-
AOSP.
Mm.
But the thing is that you it's a whole new experience for a new person. It's now a new thing for someone to get
When you
used
say a
to.
whole new experience, that's what I don't understand, because AOSP is so like Android.
It's so like Android, but
All they have
right
to do
now-
is just skin it with their EMUI.
that's
and
what I'm
it's
saying.
back
That
to
if you are
Huawei OS.
focusing this conversation on the entire world,
Mhm.
they may not get as many people as they hope. But if you're focusing it on their main markets, they are fine.
Obviously.
They are fine. But like, to just create a whole new OS is not as simple, because Samsung has been playing with. How long have we heard about Tizen?
Because you know what it is with OSs. This will be a whole other digress. So let's just skip
But-
to what our listeners want to hear.
Mhm.
So good evening, team. Does it mean we users of Huawei will have to get a new phone? Is it okay if you back up now with Google. See, people think that they need to get a new phone. No, you don't need to get a new phone.
I mean, honestly, right now you already have the phone, so just live with it. We'll see how this unfolds.
You just sound like a doomsday.
No, I'm not.
Right
I'm
now.
not a doomsday prophet. I'm just saying this because right now we don't really know where we are. I'm looking at this positively because Google was so quick to want to
Well,
discuss with.
executive order. From
Yeah,
the
no, like in the sense
president.
that
You can't
after the
negotiate
90-day
that.
period, Google is so quick to try to talk to Huawei for
Yes,
us to figure
because
this
they've got
out.
a lot to lose.
They have a lot to lose. Both
Yes.
parties have a lot to lose. That's why they are
Obviously.
willing to talk a lot. So you don't worry about your phone for now. You don't need to worry about anything. Your phone is fine.
Yes.
For now.
It is
Yeah.
fine. So how about Huawei users download third-party app stores like APK Pure, AC Market, Blackmart, Happy Mod, Aptoid, and or Huawei create their own app store? First off, all the app stores that you mentioned are not really app stores. They're like black market app stores, if I should put it that way. Places where you can get apps and not pay for them and all
Yeah.
that. Huawei does have their own app store called the App Gallery, but it doesn't have as many apps as you would
Yeah,
get
to
in
be
the
honest,
Play Store.
The only Android user, and this may sound biased, that has a quite a strong app store is the Galaxy Store.
Yeah, basically because it's just the same APKs that are there.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much
They
same.
have but I mean, like you said, you can incentivize developers, and there are a lot of Asian developers who jump on this
Of
and
course,
do
they already- most
crazy
of-
stuff.
I've been to the Huawei App Gallery and I don't speak Chinese, so I didn't make it too far.
But it will cost them a lot of money to bring this to life.
So back to this comment, those app stores which are not, should I say, legal, you stand the risk of installing an app that someone has then now put a backdoor or virus or anything in there. If I could recode an app and then put it in that app store, you want that app so bad, you go and download it and have access to your device. So
Mhm.
that's what Google Play Protect is there
Yeah.
for, to make sure that apps that you download from the Play Store do not have certain backdoors and all that
bugs.
Yeah.
and all that viruses to give access to your devices. So
But like I was saying, that the ultimate, if this goes south,
where
The-
South is,
where south is, Google has to cut all ties with Huawei. You would not be able to even run Google APKs. Any app that's from on the App Store will not
legally,
run,
you mean?
even illegally. I've done the reading. I'm telling you
See,
this.
We've heard this thing too many times.
I mean, you can find. There are always people out there looking for a challenge.
Obviously, that's what I mean.
But I'm talking about right now.
dude.
Right now,
How long did it take George Hotz to crack the first iPhone?
I mean, the guy, no, he's not a good example, please. George Hotz cracks things by habit,
Yeah,
right? He cracked the first iPhone because, it's cracked,
that's
right? He cracked the PS3,
I agree.
which was
And got
uncracked
sued.
for years simply because they removed a feature and he was like, how dare you?
Yeah,
And
I remember
in
that.
In that
feature.
same day, he reinstalled it back and the crack for the PS3 was blown open forever.
And that's what
Right.
actually dropped the PS3 because the PS3
Yeah,
was
because
not that great.
they
I mean,
couldn't-
there are people out there who
It-
could
it wasn't
figure
what?
out that great.
Huh?
The PS3 wasn't. Never mind.
We're not talking about PS3 here. Thank you.
There are people who are out there who are looking for this kind of challenge. But what I'm saying is that right now on the ground, without anybody doing anything, it will be very difficult for them to put Google Play.
Now think about it this way.
Mhm.
So China gets up and says, you know what? You guys have been mean to us for too long. We've just sat down and tried to play with you. Okay. All American businesses in China, all your factories in China, you no longer can do business with us. Take your business somewhere.
That's one of the things they're already doing.
I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
if it goes south, like
Yeah.
you said, and then it gets worse, you do realize all the people that stand to lose? I mean, all these brands, KFC, McDonald's, they were in China, and they say they're not going to do business. You all have to go back.
But the thing is that it's interesting, but people have already started, especially the OEMs, they're already finding a safe haven in India.
But
they are moving, they're jumping ship.
How safer is it in India?
How safer is it?
How cheaper is it?
Samsung has been doing stuff in India for the longest time.
But you do realize that this also contributes to how
Yeah, production
much
cost.
your
Everybody will lose in the first
phones
5
will
years.
cost now.
Yeah.
And you are battling with someone who still stays in their homeland, produces phones, and then they come to the market and they are way cheaper.
How?
So think about it. Flagship phone comes to the market from Huawei, costs 3,000. Doesn't have Google Play services. Flagship phone comes from another market, costs 7,000.
I mean, which
Has Google Play services.
which apart from the Pixel and the iPhone,
Hmm.
which other phones are going to like really be affected by this?
Well, they are still more expensive.
Yeah, I'm saying that, but like, which ones would be that much affected by it, by this?
Now, this is what brings you back to what I started with. That don't you think that America is doing this in the interest of the businesses that are in their country? Because this could essentially affect Apple and Google.
Actually, the interesting thing is that what some of the analysts are saying is that this whole trade war, this whole attack on Huawei is actually about 5G. Because
Here,
Huawei
that's
has
why.
the greatest innovations and the leaders, pretty much the leaders in 5G.
Yeah.
There are certain companies that talked about the fact that when they require certain components, they go to Huawei because it will take Ericsson and these other companies about 2 years to come up with the same thing that Huawei already has.
Hmm.
So it's a very complex game and it's very political.
So the ordinary Ghanaian is asking, I'm trying to buy the Huawei Y9 Prime 2019 for someone. I want to know how it will affect me. As we said, it wouldn't affect you. The
Just
phone's
safe.
already in the stores. The
Mhm.
phones that people have, the phones that have been shipped are on the sea coming to the stores.
Yeah.
They're all safe. They all have all these softwares already installed. So you're safe.
If you were going to buy the Huawei Mate 10, that would be a problem. I mean the Mate X,
Mate X.
the foldable
but
one.
it's not.
It's not out. So
It's even probably already has it. So
that one is also dancing on tenterhooks. That's also in a very weird space.
Oh,
Michael,
yeah.
don't you think that this guy here is very, very like?
I'm being very morbid.
Yeah.
He is, but at the same time, these things are reaching very deep.
It's.
I mean, how long ago was?
I mean, they are
this?
describing this as a
Someone
new
says
Cold War.
Bad thinkers. Where were phones in 1700? Android will pass away. Okanse phones would reign. What is Okanse phones?
I mean, Android is on the verge of dying.
Well, yeah. If
Google is already working on Fuchsia.
But I read something too that says that Fuchsia is probably just something that is very widely. Okay,
But-
this is a very long one, I think, but we should still read it. So that's from Dominic 106 from Germany. The truth is, no American company can currently produce the same wireless equipment as the Chinese counterparts. And with 5G being the central nervous system of the 21st century's economy, this seriously means a considerable business disadvantage, to say the least. All politics aside, Huawei is still today's market leader. In fact, they managed to surpass many big players without anyone noticing or even caring to predict how quickly they would rise. It does not take a far look back to explain it either. When European companies like Ericsson and Nokia are still focused on 4G and making the most of their business by milking existing technology, Huawei was there, already developing a whole new 5G technology from scratch and setting, by the way, the industry standard. Huawei basically created a new and future market when others were still trying to get some jobs out of existing ones. Now, this brings me to the interview I watched of Huawei CEO,
Yeah.
where he was asked about what the ban from last year did to them. It was pretty much not what.
Yeah, it was like, oh, he still stands on his, like, he's not worried that this is not going to bother them in any
See, the
way.
advantage is that Huawei engineers were forced to innovate
Yeah.
because you stand. That's why I was trying to say that where you have all these pushback, you need to give people reason to buy your devices by crazy innovation.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on the sense that this could actually spill back very badly on America and Google and the rest, because other companies will be forced. If Huawei, let's be honest, if Huawei is able to do it, create an OS and it gains a certain form of popularity, many of the other big players would be like, okay, if this has been done, we might as well do it. Because let's think about this. iPhone came with Siri, Google came with the Google Assistant and everything. Then Amazon comes in with Alexa, and then
Microsoft or Cortana.
Microsoft. Oh yeah. Oh that. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Sorry.
I've
Cortana.
got
Yeah,
some Q&A that I need to, read out.
Okay. Sorry. So,
about-
but
when
then
you're done.
other companies are like, okay, we are dropping. So Samsung drops Bixby. Everybody is getting into the AI game. So if you force someone's hand to do something they would rather not do, if they are successful at it, it breaks the ecosystem
and
and
then everybody just jumps in.
it spills out everywhere.
So we have some questions and some answers, official answers from Huawei. And so one is, will this have an impact on Huawei's existing sales? How much of an impact will this have on CBG's global business. That's basically the global company. Huawei will continue to provide security updates, as I said,
Mhm.
and after-sales service to all existing Huawei and Honor smartphones. Bear in mind, Honor does come from Huawei.
Yes.
And tablet products, covering those that have been sold and are still in stock globally.
Mhm.
Now, number 2, will this suspension of business with Google have an impact on Huawei's business in China? No.
No, definitely not.
Obviously
New.
not. Will people be able to continue using Google services like Google Play and Gmail on their Huawei phones? The products they have sold and currently sell will not be affected. You will be able to continue using these services as you normally would.
Yeah.
And number 4, will this affect regular use of Huawei phones?
No.
The products we've sold and currently sell will not be affected. You will be able to use them as you normally would. And then number 5, will Huawei phones be able to receive Android updates? Now this is where they say we will continue to provide updates for Huawei EMUI.
Yes.
I told you,
But
Huawei will
that's-
still have their backs.
But that's what I'm saying. What I was saying is that if this thing goes very south, if Google has to cut all ties, then Google supports
Oh,
has
yeah,
to walk
they
out of the
said
way.
all, including
Yeah.
technical support.
Yeah, so and then it just leaves everything on Huawei. But devices that Google has already worked with, even the 90-day thing came about because the American government was saying that they need to give all these companies who already have business dealings with Huawei some time to find.
It's a lie.
I don't know.
It's a lie. They already felt the stocks were dropping.
Yeah, the stocks have
Exactly.
dropped very, very,
Yep,
very
so
much.
Yo,
This
cutting
isn't
time.
this isn't rocking the boat. This is drilling holes and loading rocks. So yeah,
So,
it's a danger
There's a
to
question
all.
that's saying that I thought access to Google for now is limited. So the only limit is the ones that was cut for devices that are pending.
Yes,
So that is
So,
what they cut.
like the
That's what is
Huawei,
limited. That's a service that they've limited right now,
Mhm.
but they still have
like the Huawei Mate 30 is now in smoke.
no, it's not in smoke.
No, it's like it's not in. We don't know
I still
what.
have questions to read
It's
and
coming
answer.
though.
So, will people still be able to update their Google apps? Yes, by all means, you will be.
Yes.
And will Huawei phones support Android Q? More details will be released
Exactly.
in future system
Mm.
upgrade notifications.
Which is why I feel like this 90 days, both are going to haul a lot of movement. Like they are going to haul to get this done.
Well, they need to. Will people still be able to update non-Google apps? Yes, non-Google apps will not be affected. Number 9, can Huawei smartphones still receive Google security patches? Yes. So existing smartphones will still receive Google security patches. If people reset their Huawei phones to factory settings, will that have an impact on their ability to use Google services in the future? No.
No.
It won't affect you. Then will Huawei products that are not yet launched be affected? Huawei says they will continue to provide security updates and after-sales services to all existing Huawei and Honor smartphones and tablet products, covering those that have been sold and that are in stock globally. So, if it has been sold, it is in stock.
Let me
You
say,
will still
yeah.
get.
Let me say something to all anybody listening out there. If you have a Huawei phone, you don't need to worry. You don't need to. Look, I think WhatsApp stopped running updates for ice cream sandwich. Was it this year or last year? And ice cream sandwich is like years ago. So your device will die before this thing will even be a problem for
Even
you.
to that whole point, just a few minutes or hours ago, the CEO of Huawei actually said that the new OS that will come will support Android apps,
Yeah, see?
regardless
I told you,
of what.
Regardless of what,
what
well,
happened.
let's see
They
how that.
released a compiler. Listen, it compiles the machine code. Do
I
you know
get
how
that.
good this is?
I get that, but with the extent of the way that's why I keep stressing. If things go very south, the outcome of this may be far different than what because right now everybody needs to sound like they are confident. Everybody
We
needs to
will
sound.
have a podcast for this episode.
Yeah.
So whenever this thing goes south, like you said, and it doesn't go the way
I don't think we'll go south. I honestly don't
That
think.
we have to quote this part,
Yeah, yeah.
lock down this part. Of
Yeah, you can, but all I'm
so
saying
you
is
can
that-
play it back to him.
I honestly don't think it will go south
If
because
it does not go south, you are buying us dinner that night.
I mean, if it's kinky and fish, yeah, my mind they
Would
cool.
you leave my Sean and Sunny out of here? I want what you call
So the
Kibale
last
and Yam.
question is, does this mean that Huawei will speed up the development and deployment of its own operating system? Now, this is where you should remove all the wax from your ears and listen. Android is open source.
It is.
And Huawei has made substantial contributions to its development and growth around the world. We will continue to prioritize the development and use of the Android ecosystem. So they're not looking at going to create something.
No, they will definitely create, like I said, they will do something similar to the Fire OS. But the Fire OS, let's be honest, it's not that fire. Hasn't really caught on, has it?
If you're listening and you want to call, unfortunately, we can only take 3 calls because we have very little time. The studio lines are 0302 216 541, 0302 216 541, and then 0244 340 437. If you don't want to call, you want to send us a WhatsApp or a Telegram, is 0244 340 437, 0244 340 437 for WhatsApp and Telegram. Keep it brief, keep it snappy so we can have other callers come in. Hello, caller.
Yeah, how are you? How are you?
I'm very well, sir.
Yeah, mind you, this Huawei fight, as you said, is highly political.
Yes.
And for me, I can only see a situation where America will ban it, Huawei sales to America. Remember, ITEL, how do you call it, the other phones, Techno and Co. All of them can't sell in America. Even Samsung can't sell certain products in America for patent reasons. They will be sued. So this whole thing, for me, Huawei can only not sell its products to America, because if I have an Android phone, I can do anything. You can even download Play Store. There are developers who can give that. And what is Google going to do? Because the phone is bare, so you just have to have the Android on it. So I think that this whole discussion is all about not being able to sell Huawei devices in America. We can buy Huawei, so nobody should be alarmed.
Thank you for calling us again. You're one of our esteemed callers.
Listener, yeah.
We've got
Gold
another
star
caller on
for
the
you.
line. Yeah, big gold star. Hello.
Frankie, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I hope you are well.
I'm very well.
This is Ajima Joseph from tonight, Chama.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the conversation so much, but I want to come out with a simple general question.
Sure.
Yeah, when I'm having phone, ordinary call. If I don't have credit, somebody can call me. Just that I can't call. But when it comes to data, if I don't have enough data, nobody can call me through WhatsApp. Video or WhatsApp call.
Yeah.
So in this case, the one calling who is spending the data, or both of us, the receiving and the calling is also spending the data.
Sure, we'll answer that very shortly. Thank you very much for calling. Yeah, so last question. We have a question on WhatsApp. Kusi Brempon Jr. from Teshima says Huawei has 36% of 5G patents globally. US has 14% of 5G patents globally. Huawei spent $13 billion on R&D last year, and Qualcomm comes second with R&D spending of $5 billion. Clearly, China is ahead of the US when it comes to 5G. And trust me, US won't sit and allow China to lead in the 5G race. The leader in 5G will hold the right to write standards and protocols, and also lead in fields of AI. And Uncle Sam, US wouldn't allow this to happen. This is a clear political move. Thank you very mumuch, Kofi Brempon Jr. from Teshima. I've got a call on the line. Hello, Kofi.
Hello.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Hello, you guys. Not you guys, but I think you guys just dimmed my light. I was shopping around for a phone, and after going back and forth between getting the Note 9 and Charlie, the Apple, I know that you like Apple says. I settled on getting a Mate.
Right.
So the debate was Mate X, Mate Pro, 20 Pro, or the Mate itself. And I went back and forth, and I realized that the Mate 20 is actually probably the best fit. You don't get some things in 20X, you don't get some things on Pro. But then the Mate stood right in the middle. And then they just hit me with this news. But anyway, you guys say functionality will not be affected, right?
At all.
So then that's fine. And kudos to you guys, Charlie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your fans, Kofi. And thank you for listening. So,
there was that one question. Yes, both of you are using data.
Upload, download.
Yeah, download.
Yep.
Both
That's
of
how
you use.
data
Yeah,
is.
so
it's rather unfortunate that you can't receive calls. But yeah, this has been a fruitful discussion.
I mean, we even didn't touch the fact that Intel and others will affect Huawei's
Exactly.
computer making business.
Microsoft,
Yes.
and
Actually-
all that, because essentially right now those markets are not as big as their mobile phone
phone
markets.
device.
But yeah, well, if you have a Huawei phone, bottom line, you are not affected.
You are safe.
You're safe.
Android themselves actually tweeted not that long ago that you are safe.
You are
Yeah,
safe.
you're
Don't worry.
safe. So don't worry
So
at
don't
all.
worry about it.
Cash
You
it
can,
be.
all those questions asking if you can still update your apps. Yes, you can update your apps. You can download apps. You can install apps. You can update the phone itself if Huawei sends you an update. We're
But the-
pretty sure.
But the only thing we are not sure is if you will get the next Android
Android.
update.
Yeah.
I keep saying, I really don't think people care about Android.
Exactly,
updates.
that's what I'm saying.
Someone showed me his phone today and he had like 5 notifications for updates. He hadn't bothered to
So
click
that
any.
it's not.
That's
You
data,
know-
expensive data.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to convince him that, listen, security patches are very important
Mhm.
because that's what will prevent someone from hacking into your phone. Any last comments, y'all? Because we got 3 minutes.
Well, if the security updates were so important, maybe the telcos and those who provide data to us will allow us to download it for free.
Yeah, they should
but
have zero it.
yeah, but we live in such a world. In any case, there's a very good chance that this thing could easily blow over. 60% chance that all of this could just pass by,
Yeah.
and everyone is better off for it because the risks for both sides far outweigh the benefits. That yes, if this thing goes through, they'll both be forced to change and develop and make a better way for themselves. But the risk of that is not the risk from that aren't as high as if they just carry on as normal and improve that way. For both benefits, there's a good chance if level heads prevail that this thing could just pass by and none of this will be a worry anymore. Which point Winston here of OO has very nicely. Let me see.
I already said, never mind. Since Michael has said everything, but basically Michael still has a Nissan Tundra he's selling. So yeah,
For sale, see us in the Telegram.
I actually mean a
you know,
Toyota
people-
Tundra, so I'm
people-
serious.
People, exactly.
I'm serious, it's a
People
Toyota.
going to think that is a joke because you
No.
keep saying Nissan Tundra.
But it's a
I'm sorry,
Toyota Tundra
what?
that is up for sale. You can
You need to give the backstory to this. Unfortunately, we don't have
have
enough
time.
time. but
I think
Another
we,
time, listeners, if you want to know, you know where to reach us. Let
On
us
the
know. And
Telegram
we,
group.
we may actually give a whole show dedicated to explaining my confusion when it comes to vehicles with 4 wheels.
and
So-
then finally, I am releasing a new video on YouTube called Smartphone Etiquette. It will teach you how to keep your phone a little bit longer. I'm an expert. I've been, I am.
You
So yeah, you can
give
look
that
for.
Expert by force.
You can search on YouTube for my YouTube channel Winston Winston. Watch it WOTSE.
Okay, so thank you, Michael. Thank you, Winston.
Yeah,
And thank you, Spiky.
but who's buying the yam?
Love you all.
Up next is the news, after which we have Sammy Forson with Overdrive. My name is Kobe Spike in Chroma. This has been Geek Squad.